Well, hello, how are you? My name is Muna, and I've been working on this document about artificial intelligence. So, if you like to listen to me talk about it, let's go. Um, just to introduce myself, I am a software business analyst, and I've worked on AI for projects when it comes to work. And for the past over a year and a half, I've been heavily researching on generative AI, very particularly curious about how it's going to affect our culture, society, and I'm also really interested how I can use it on my day-to-day life. So this document is just a very basic but general introduction to AI and like the state of the culture of AI in regards to somebody who lives here in America. All right. So this document here is one that is pretty long, so take a seat. Um, AI, what's real, what's hype, and how to use it. I'm not going to teach you how to make money off of AI. Instead, I'm just going to introduce you to artificial intelligence. That way, to just help increase your own AI literacy. My name is Muna, as I've already introduced myself, and this is something that I've researched a lot and I've helped people out on how they can use AI to their own daily lives. Um, so, what exactly is generative AI? Generative AI is the ability for the artificial intelligence to create new content. But before I get to that, we'll just talk quickly about what artificial intelligence itself actually is. AI is the ability for the machines, like the computers, the technology that we use, for them to think like us humans and for them to try to process and learn the way that we do. And this is how it's designed to actually try to behave. So that's why if you just started using AI or if you're new to the technology, you see how it gets better and better every time that as you give it more information. That's the same way that us humans work. The more we are presented a certain topic or information, the better we get at it. That's why when you're at work, you're better in day 100 than you were on day one. So think about it that way. It's the machine's ability to imitate the way humans think and learn and process things. Now, artificial intelligence itself, it's something that's been around for a long time, probably longer than I've actually researched to look into it. But for the general public, just know if you've had an iPhone, if you have Alexa, if you use Siri, if you use a GPS, you've already been using AI, artificial intelligence. So let's say the GPS, for example, how does that use artificial intelligence, right? You're somewhere in one location and then you put on the GPS to go somewhere else. So let's say you're going out of state. You're driving out of state. The fact that it's able to give you a route and tell you directions of how to get there, that used to be something that humans used to communicate with each other, how to give directions. And then we went into using the paper maps. And now, when you actually have the GPS with you in your car, it's getting you to the location, but it's also able to change the route if there's a roadblock or if there's a slowdown. It's able to find a faster place for you, a faster route for you to take. So that is an AI technology, the fact that it's able to give you those directions and make the changes when things come along. So that's basic. And well, Alexa, if you're asking Alexa questions and it's able to answer back to you the way it gives you answers and processes it, that is AI. Now, generative AI is the reason why a lot of people now are in AI. It's what's bigging up the hype. AI always had a moment of coming up to the surface of like the news and it goes back down, comes and goes. But now with generative AI, because of the release of ChatGPT, people like me who don't know how to code, I know technology as far as my work goes. And I understand it. I can understand the code if a developer explains it to me, but I don't know it. I'm not a coder. So you or somebody else who doesn't know how to code at all, now generative AI allows you to actually use the technology, design things with it, and communicate with it without needing how to code. So this is different. And I'm using the word generative AI, but I also realize that it's a subset of generative AI that allows us to communicate with the technology, which is NLP. NLP is natural language processing. Natural language processing. Now, remember when I told you earlier that the AI gives the machine the ability to process things the way humans do? That's natural language processing takes that up a whole notch. What that does, okay, is it allows the AI to understand the way I speak English, the way I'm speaking right now. It allows it to, and it allows the way somebody else speaks their own language. If the machine is trained on Chinese, it can speak Chinese, or excuse me, I meant Mandarin or Cantonese, or it can speak Spanish, or if it's an African language like Creole or Timini, it can speak people can speak to the machine or the chatbot and it can understand it, not only understand what it's saying with natural language processing, but it can understand and process what it's saying. And if you ask it to do something when on your question or what you asked it in the chat, it can create something now. So let's say, for example, you asked it, hey, can you write an email telling my boss that I need to take time off next week because of this reason? That's all you told it in the way you naturally speak. So whether you typed it or you spoke it, you put it in a way that you easily understand and not in code. So it takes that with NLP, it processes it. And then now with natural language generation, which is a subset of NLP itself, it generates the email that you asked it to based on the context of everything you told it, right? You want time off next week to your boss, and you're getting off these days, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's artificial intelligence, which some artificial intelligence are very basic. Like for example, let's think of Roomba. Roomba is the machine that vacuums your floor without you doing it. It has one job and it does it. And then you have large language models, which are the things like ChatGPT and Google Gemini and Claude. And even we can now say things like, what is like the website builders? I think GoDaddy has Arrow and also Canva with their creation and Midjourney. Those things are large language models. Those are the things that most of us as consumers, if you're listening to this, trying to understand AI, that's what you're probably hearing a lot about when people say AI, AI, AI. It's usually large language models they're referring to when they're talking about it, because that's where we're going in and asking questions and asking it to like generate this and do that and all of that stuff, create my email, write a content plan for me, write a contract. Those are large language models. And the basic ones, let's just say ChatGPT, which is a chatbot, it's large language, as in it's been trained on a large amount of information on a language. So much training. So these can be training by like content that is online, web pages, books, all of those things it's trained on, which in another end does create some controversies because you have artists and writers who are claiming that their information have been used to train the chatbots and they're not getting compensation. So, artificial intelligence, generative AI, large language models, that's the basics, right? So, why is it such a hype, right? Why is it such a hype? Well, if you have used any of these, like in a way where it really has helped you create things and documents and applications even, you can definitely see why it's powerful because it makes it a lot easier to get your work done without the need to ask for somebody else to help you out. So basically it can be like an assistant. So a lot of people have been using it to speed up their work process. I mean, during the man like at the time during a work day, say 8 hours work shift, It's hard for your brain to jump from one thing to the next, even if it's not work, if it's your own business, or even if you're at home doing a project. The energy that your brain takes to switch tasks to do things, it over time can be exhausting. Maybe not exhausting to you, but just in general, there's a certain energy when it comes to switching your focus. So a lot of people use AI just to get those simple things done, those tasks that are tedious, that take time to craft emails upon emails upon emails. They use AI to do that and it saves them a lot of time. So it's really helpful. Or if somebody like who's an accountant or a lawyer, they use AI, or a business person, an entrepreneur or business owner or a CEO, and they do a lot of research, but it's too much to read. Like, I don't know, reading a whole book in one day to do a report, that takes a lot of time. It's not to say that they don't have the knowledge to do the work, but it's just the time that it takes that AI can help take away from them. So using things like Notebook LM or those AIs where it can really summarize concepts and pages of books and reports and search databases for them, like an accountant, they have to be up to date with the information that is out there, like what guidelines to follow, what rules to follow. I'm not an accountant, so I don't even know what words to throw out there for them, you know? But it's really important for them to follow the rules that is the most up to date for that year, for that day. So they do a lot of research while doing their work. So AI helps them do the research that they normally do anyways, but at a lot faster time. So whenever people are able to save time to get their work, the same amount of work done with something that is a lot cheaper than hiring another person, unfortunately, it's bound to be something that's going to grow bigger and bigger. And that's where we're at today. People are using AI so much, and not just people, there are lots of businesses and governments that are using AI where the workforce is being affected by it. A lot of people are getting laid off because companies want to be AI first. Meaning that if they're AI first, that means they're people second. AI first means you're people second. Don't get fooled by being told that because they're AI first, it doesn't mean they're getting replaced by the AI. They're getting replaced by the person who's in AI. That's not to be controversial, but to me, that's very similar to when they say it's not the gun that kills people, it's the person holding the gun that kills people. If the thing didn't exist itself, the killing, or at least the way that they do it, wouldn't happen. So if AI didn't exist, people using AI wouldn't happen. Anyways, I'll bring it back because I do recognize the good of AI. I use it. I'm here teaching it. I do recognize the good. And it's a technology it's going to be as major as right now how a lot of companies have emails and they have websites. There was a point in time that I was alive where that wasn't really common. It's not really common for a company to have a website when you have AOL trying to connect to the internet. Not really that many companies had websites. So we're at that place right now where there are people who see the potential of AI, how it can really affect their finances, it can affect their work, it can affect the way they do content, it can affect the way they organize things. And people are not going to give that up. And companies are definitely not going to give that up. So all that to tell you, you might want to actually understand AI and see how it can help you out. But I really do beg that we do this responsibly because because it's a lot of danger in AI. It's a lot of danger because there are a lot of other people and groups that don't care to use it responsibly, that they want to build AI fast and keep going, which, in one sense, it's a very contradicting topic as far as when you're somebody who's interested in AI and you actually understand the potential and already existing damage and danger of it. But we just have to actually be honest and have these conversations and not shy away from them just because we want to promote people making money and, you know, it's so sad. That's all I have to say. I'll get back to that another time, but so AI and the cultural impact that it has. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, right? AI and the cultural impacts. Actually, let me bring it back down just really, really quick before I get to the cultural impacts. I went over a little bit about how AI is being used every day, but I do want to go in a bit more detail because I was kind of going on a little tangent over there. So every day people use AI to create content. So that's your Facebook posts, Instagram posts, even YouTube. There are many apps that help you out on using AI. So for editing your content, like your videos for YouTube or for Instagram, it's things like an app called Opus Clip, OPUS Clips. I personally haven't used it yet, but a lot of people, content creators, they talk about how it's very helpful, especially if you are somebody or a company that needs to push out a lot of content or you have a lot of long form. So that's that. And of course, with like ChatGPT and Gemini, and you can create content like your blog post, or even it helps you out with your caption, or if you have even like honestly, I've used AI a lot to put together some content for teaching AI. And one thing I do have to say though, if you are using AI to get things done that you're going to share as a professional, it is best to do that when you actually know the information and you're not just learning it. Like you can't say, here, I'll give you like a health guide, although I'm not a person who's in health. I'm not a nutritionalist, I'm not a doctor. I am not going to prescribe you a guide on your health. I can tell you, hey, this is research that I've done, but you can't sign off on it like that. So with AI, you really have to fact check. So that's why, for me, when I used it to create my content for teaching this AI thing, I already know the information. I've worked in technology where I did research to help them make a decision on purchasing a tool, an AI tool. But not only that, I've worked on a project where we built an AI tool for the company. And these are big companies. They were already doing it before ChatGPT really took off. And with that knowledge, I got introduced to it with NLP, with that word. Like, what is NLP? It was so hard to find information on it really and really conceptualize it until I started using ChatGPT. And I'm like, oh, they literally were right there with the request from the company. ChatGPT really was allowing you to do research on a huge amount of data using the language that you speak naturally. Anyways, all that to say, AI really, really works best when you're using it with your knowledge that you already have. But yet again, it is something that can teach you new concepts. But just be aware as it's teaching you, especially if the model is one that is like ChatGPT or Gemini, it's not trained for just like one specific thing, it's a very general one. Just be aware that it can give you information that's wrong, and that's only because it's trained on internet data or data that is from other different kind of people. So sometimes people write wrong things. People write blogs that are completely wrong, and it's just based on opinion and not fact. Even books can be wrong. So even textbooks have been proven to be wrong. So just be aware that if you're doing research on something that you yourself cannot fact check and say, I know for sure this is information is right, be aware that there's a chance it could be wrong as well. And they like to use the word hallucination for this, but I just want to say it's just giving you wrong information. Let's not try to humanize the AI like that. It's not hallucinating, it's wrong. Anyways, so yeah, you can do a smart search with AI, which is something that I've mentioned as far as with the lawyers and the accountants and even people. If you're doing putting together a report and you need to do research, Perplexity is a really good research application for AI to do that, and of course, ChatGPT. Gemini, all of these, you can do research. Personally, I've heard a lot of people say things like, oh, Google is dead, all that stuff. I'm going to do AI search only. I'm not subscribing to that. No, um, because my thought is I still want to have the ability to go to a website and read more information on it. Because all ChatGPT and the other Perplexity do, they do a great job, but they pick the websites that they're going to look at and grab little information here and there from them and then summarize it and tell you. But what if you want to go a little deeper and learn a bit more about the topic or learn a bit more? For example, I asked Perplexity a question about to give me some prompts to write for financial advice because I uploaded my bank information into Perplexity, but I wanted to, like, what questions do I ask? I can ask questions that I know, but I asked it to give me a list of questions that I can ask that where I can get advice as if it's a financial advisor, and it gave me a good list of questions. And just to test it out, I was like, you know what? I clicked on one of the links that it gave as a resource that it used to give me the list. And when I click on the link, the page that it took me to, for the most part, the whole page itself really wasn't about financial advising or about prompts. It had prompts for financial advising on it, but the main article itself really wasn't about it. So that made me realize, like, no, I actually like being able to use Google to find websites that the whole thing is about my question that I had to get prompt for, as if prompt for prompt for financial advice, because I just want to like learn a bit more and go deeper and not just be told the answer. Like AI tells you the answer. It can explain it to you as well, but it's really just based on its design. It's based on its design. And I think if you over reliantly depend on that, you're going to set yourself up for failure at some point. So planning and brainstorming is also something that people can do and use AI for. If you're planning a trip coming up, or if you're planning a class that you want to teach, if you're planning aesthetics and outfit, or just if you want to see like ideas for makeup and things like that, you can use it. Or brainstorming ideas for a business name, all these kind of things you can do. Um, and then it absolutely can help you with your understanding your financial circumstances. This is one that, depending on where you're at with your finances, it could be a good thing or it could be something that's going to humble you. So just beware. It'll be very humbling if your finances are not that great, but at least it can be a space where you might feel embarrassed at the moment to talk to a financial advisor, which you probably should talk to a financial advisor anyways, but at least with the AI, you can sit down with your mess and really analyze it and ask more questions to go deeper and come up with a game plan that, works well for you and with your actual financial situation and not just a generic one that you hear from like a content creator or somebody who is a specialist, but they're writing for the general public and not just for you. Um, and then for home organization, you can definitely use it to get ideas on colors and things to put together. What I've done before was I took a picture, not even a picture, because on Gemini, you can do this thing called live stream, Google Gemini. And then where you can show, I think you can do it on ChatGPT as well. I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me. I think I saw it, but I'm recording right now, so I don't want to go and check. Um, so on Gemini, you can live stream and show AI where you're at, what you're doing. It sees exactly what you're seeing. And I asked it questions like, hey, this is the room. I want to do some, changes. And it was able to have a conversation with me to give me suggestions on what things to put, on colors to use and things like that. So it's helpful with that. But with all these scenarios, all these scenarios, when it comes to your AI literacy, I really want you to know that all this information, unless you yourself are an expert, are really just summaries, very smart summaries of internet and other public information. That's all I have to say about that. But if you're going to upload your own private information up there, like your financial statements, anything, if you care enough for your own security, be careful not to share your private information, such as your name, social security number, addresses. Just do your best not to. Because you may be told that your information is not going to be taken, it's not going to be used, but it's better you just don't trust that. It's better you just be aware and think, hey, you know what, my information can just be out there. As long as I upload it on the internet, which is what these large language models are on, as long as you upload the internet, just know that there's a chance that your information can and will be used for training purposes and to also sell. Just FYI. Okay? So now let's get on to this cultural impact of AI because it's right now doesn't seem like it's much of a huge cultural impact, but it really, really is. AI is having a huge impact on the culture and it's going to continue to have an even bigger one. Like one major big one that I see right now, it's not like an important vital one, but I think people get to see changes or recognize changes more when they actually see physical things and not just something that's on your laptop or your phone. But self-driving cars, they're really in America. I'm in America now. They're really making a huge wave. Self-driving cars are going to really pop up. You know, it reminds me of the early days of Uber when I had a friend who ordered an Uber and I didn't know about Uber then. I know, so she was like, really introducing me to it. I'm like, oh, you could just order a car from your phone. That's really nice and neat. And it was very rare. And now I'm reading on the news that Waymo, the self-driving car, they've been in California for a while, and now they're going to try to come, not try, but they're going to come to DC to introduce it in DC and New York, I believe. So I think when people start seeing those self-driving cars, it'll really hit them that things are going to change. Society is changing, and it already is. So let's say in healthcare, right? Healthcare is already having a lot of problems with keeping the workforce. You know, there's less people getting into healthcare because it's a stressful job. It is a very stressful job. It's demanding mentally, physically, and emotionally. And it's a very high standard for it too, especially if you want to be a doctor. It's like we need doctors, but the schools and the hospitals act like they don't want them because of how hard they make it for them to get into it and expensive. But healthcare is definitely being affected by AI in more ways than we know. So we know that doctors and healthcare specialists, they're using AI tools, more private ones, as far as what I've heard. My sister said in her hospital that they're using going to start using AI now. And what they're doing, I think this is a space where, when done right, responsibly, and safely for the people, AI is going to make a great impact because it's going to help them get some work done. Like they do a lot of reviews of stuff, reviewing patients' information, and that takes a lot of their time. Or when they're doing their notes after the day to review all the notes or write down notes. So there are AI tools that can help them that can summarize a patient's information for them quickly instead of them having to go back and check different documents that are there or missing. And also, there are tools that are being used to record their meetings, and it summarizes and creates those notes automatically for them to check and make sure that it's right. So it's very helpful there. Outside of the paperwork part of AI, I mean, there are medical advancements happening as far as like even where brain waves are being used to control artificial limbs and things like that. And AI is allowing for their what's it called for what's the word when you find a solution to a sickness? So that word, AI is allowing their for the solutions to sicknesses to be found quicker. I'm so sorry for that word, like blanking out on me right now, but um, the sickness, that's funny. Yeah, so healthcare is definitely a huge part. I mean, and then so with the brain chips that are allowing people to communicate with the limbs and things like that, and then with doctors being allowed to have a recording of their day, it's going to definitely speed up like their practice of them taking care of the patients. That way they can focus more on giving the patient the care that they need versus the paperwork that comes with the job. Um, but there is definitely going to be a risk as far as healthcare goes because I feel like a lot of greedy companies and people are going to find a way to exploit that. There's definitely going to be a bunch of scams when it comes to medical and healthcare, as far as people pretending to have that specialty when they don't because the AI can give them that quote unquote knowledge. But this is where AI literacy really matters because we need to be aware that people can use this technology to pretend that they are a certain profession. And when you know that, you can at least be more on top of being able to detect it and not get scammed into paying for a service that you're not getting. Um, that and in the news itself, I mean, AI is being used to write news article, and a lot of news content is being generated by AI. And unfortunately, there are also like a lot of fake images and videos that are quote unquote newsworthy, but it's AI related. You have politicians sharing and using AI. That's not scary. Um, Yeah, politicians using AI. And with AI now, the fact that videos and audios can be created to completely fake a scenario, it's really a lot more important now for the public, for people to be aware of that because fake news is for real. And this has nothing to do with like political party lines, but the news is really going to be really, really fake with AI because people are creating videos that imitate real human beings. And you may be watching a video of somebody who's a celebrity or a famous person or a non famous person doing something, and they could be AI. So it's really scary how now our trust for each other is going to get less and less. So find a reliable news source and see if you can stick to them, but also like really put them into task to check and see if they're being honest. Um, so, and speaking of fake, just FYI, there are a lot of AI influencers being created with AI technology. And this, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it can be bad if they're influencer who's faking to teach something that they don't know about, or if they are an AI influencer pretending to actually be human, or if they are an AI influencers playing onto human loneliness and the weaknesses of the human psychology. Um, but when it comes to AI influencers and all of that, misinformation or good information, there's definitely like an uptick of the amount of AI influencers from the ones that actually are animated. On YouTube, there are already AI influencers before ChatGPT blew up, actually. Like these are the ones that are actually animated. Very popular. You know, I like cartoons, so I can definitely see how they became popular. And then as well as you have AI influencers who talk about AI and teach AI to do research on AI, similar to me, I guess you can say, but I don't consider myself an influencer. I'm just somebody who works in AI, research AI, and I just want to teach it. But and the other part is they have this thing called slop AI slop content. That's a new word that's coming out with the AI now. AI slop content basically is, think of, what is the word? What's that word when the content brain rot? Think of brain rot content, and brain rot content, if you know what brain rot content is, it's basically content that is completely useless. Sometimes can even just like make you feel dumber, and it completely like just trash. That's my definition of it. But AI slop content basically for right now, what the content is people creating using AI technology to create videos that look like, for the most part, we can say Black people, very stereotypical Black people, and having them say very offensively stereotypical things and doing offensive stereotypical things. And by stereotypical, I don't mean like just the general stereotype, I mean like offensive. So check it out if you're interested yourself, but don't check it out too much because the more you watch the content, the more attention you get, and attention is the currency of 2025 and moving forward when it comes to the internet. So AI slob content is growing. It's probably going to keep growing. Not just white people, though. I mean, Black people. There are other content that's sloppy with white people and other people of different races and things like that. But the ones I've come across and seen a lot more are the ones of Black people. Um, there are lots of AI education influencers if you want to continue learning about AI, but maybe not just watch influencers because that can keep you into like the social media spiral. So look into like organizations that teach AI or companies that teach AI also, just to give yourself a mix, because with content creators, AI content creators, they tend to talk more about like what's updated and news, like hot topics, where you can learn foundational information through the organizations that actually have courses. I mean, the influencers may have courses as well, and I'm working on one myself to go along with this book. I've already taught some people AI um, literacy and just finished up a course with somebody else. But I say that to say, yes, if you want to learn AI, learn it from the content creators, but get out of the internet, social media internet, to also learn some more. um, and then one thing that's really, really bothering me right now when it comes to this whole AI thing, the cultural impact is, there was a young boy, he's a teenager, and he killed himself because he was in a relationship with this one artificial intelligence chatbot. And through the conversation that was shared, it's applied that he did that because a chatbot told him to come home. Now we know AI doesn't have a home, at least not like that for us to go to humans. So that's really bothered me. And I just really want to encourage parents, like the cultural impact of AI is just going to be bananas. Okay. So it's going to be great for some, it's going to be wonderful for some, and it's going to be hell for some. But yeah, that little boy took his life away because his first girlfriend was an AI chatbot, which was created by this company called Character AI. And they failed to put in guardrails where their chatbots would not have certain conversations with people to encourage them and make them feel like they can be together. And speaking of which, there's a huge uptick of people who are marrying their AI. Just FYI, people are marrying the AI. They get into relationships with their AI. So chatbots are getting married now with people. And, for me, it's really no judgment because I do understand that if you don't remind yourself a lot that this is a technology, it's a machine, it's not real, I'm not supposed to fall in love with it or have emotions for it, it can be very easy for somebody who is like either lonely or emotionally cut off from other people or just shy, somebody who's just like to themselves. It can be easy for them to get caught up and fall in love with this thing, especially because these characters, the ones that are built to be a character, to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend, they're really good at having conversations with you and understanding you in ways that humans don't. So, um, yeah, people are marrying the AI. People are really falling in love with the AI. Even people who use technology, who understand how it's designed, how it's not real, are falling in love with it. And it's all because of the conversation. It makes them feel loved and seen. And honestly, like, it might be very easy to think and laugh off and wonder why they would do this and question it like in a judgmental way. But at the same time, man, everybody has their weakness. The world is so crazy right now. So I think a little bit of empathy is okay with them, but at the same time, an honest conversation is also needed with them to just let them know like this is not real. It's and it's going to have an effect on them as far as the way they interact with humans. Um, so that's that. Like AI with relationships. I mean, people are breaking up because of AI. They are people who their husbands or their wives and their partners are just overly consumed with the AI, and it is affecting their relationship where they've broken up and everything, things like that. So it does also have an effect on relationships and people using AI for therapy to get, therapy from AI. And unless it's an AI that's built specifically for therapy to have that unbiased mindset, if you're using ChatGPT for therapy, that's very dangerous because ChatGPT tends to just be a people pleaser. So whatever you tell it, it's going to find the words from the internet somewhere, pull it, and agree with you and give you good arguments to say to agree with you. So ChatGPT is good for learning how to put your words together, how to present your thoughts and things like that, and even processing your thoughts. But I don't really think it's the best for therapy because all it's really going to do is participate in this group think thing where it sees how you're thinking. Now it's thinking how you're thinking. And now it's just validating what you're thinking versus really questioning and having you question how you're thinking. So, um, yeah, that's yeah, relationships are being impacted. That's all I got to say. They are. And even for the negative, but there are also relationships that are being improved by AI. There are people who, in a relationship together, they've used AI to really break down their conversations, to kind of be like a medium because it's able to see both sides. So, one person did say that they had a conversation, like their relation with their partner, and then they used AI to upload the conversation, and AI was able to give them feedback on the conversation. So that's very helpful. Um, so next thing is AI and international relations. That's a scary thing. It's one thing when the world is competing in the market. We compete in the market all the time in business and all of that. And now with AI, the same thing is happening. Countries are racing, and the US is trying to put the foot in the pedal and go fast, 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 which I don't think is a good idea for AI. But hey, that's what it's going to do. That's what it's going to do. Um, Outside of the advancements, it's very, very expensive to sponsor a huge and fast AI project for a whole country. But outside of that, it's also AI warfare as far as the ammunitions and like the what is it? The war industrial complex? Whatever that is, the war industry is moving fast with AI. And if we're thinking about AI being used to build weapons that can very much target and kill a mass amount of people without the person even being there that's using it, that's scary. And that's happening. There are a lot of weapons being built using AI. So when I think international relations, yes, I do think as far as like the competition between different countries and who's moving faster with innovation and who's, making big impacts. Like in Africa, they are making like these advancements and like solving problems that they have with AI, which is amazing and beautiful. But a scary thing is this whole the weapons thing. It's scary, y'all. It's really really scary, and I'll leave it at that. One is it the let me see which country, because they do have AI regulations heavy in. I don't know if it's the EU or if it's England. I want to say it's EU. Let me see. Notebook LM. Oh, I can't even check Notebook LM here at the library. Or Notion. Let me see. I'm just checking real quick and seeing which government has really heavy AI regulations. Oh, it's not here. Okay. Has heavy. I have the notes, but I can't find it. So the EU, yes. So the EU, I think, is great. I know people that live in the EU may feel frustrated that there are so many regulations and rules for AI and everything, but trust me, you guys are in safe space with that because there's a lot of risk when it comes to AI. When it comes to AI in your social life, in your health life, all of that, there's a lot of risk. So I think it's good because they're not limiting to say don't use AI at all, but there is still a limit and guidelines on for companies to build responsibly. That's what I think is important because that little boy did not have to die and kill himself. He did not have to, but he did because character AI sucked with their guardrail. That's why. They did not have guardrails in place, and that sucks because there's so many young kids who are gonna use this, It's sad. So I think the EU AI Act is a good thing. And when the country doesn't want to have regulations for AI, that's honestly like we can respect the innovation part, but it's very naive. It's very, very naive. Um, because look at these regulations. AI practices pose unacceptable risks, such as social scoring by governments or manipulative AI use to exploit vulnerabilities, and prohibit outright. High AI risk systems, including those used in employment, healthcare, and critical infrastructure, face stringent requirement for transparency, accountability, and fairness, and violations can result in significant fines up to 7% of global annual turnover for violations of banned AI applications. I am here for that. China's regulatory framework, encompassing the personal information protection law, the algorithm recommendation of regulations and the generative AI regulations focuses on government oversight, data control, and national security. So China is more concerned with the government having control of the data. AI service providers are required to adhere to government approved ethical standards and ensure their systems do not threaten national security. So they do have regulations. Even though they want the data to control it, they have regulations. I think that's great. You may not agree with China the way they do things. Heck, there are things about China I don't agree with, but at least they have regulations for AI, which is good. Place to start at least. Regulations are Also address issues like algorithm filing, security reviews, and labeling of AI generated content. Furthermore, China imposes dual obligations on generative AI service providers, requiring them to comply with both content production and technical service provision regulations. I think AI regulations is really, really good. And in America, the we're there's a 10-year ban on AI, on states regulating AI. That's all I gotta say. We want to not regulate AI and just everybody have fun. It's a field day. Go crazy. Anyhow, the job market. People are losing their jobs. And I've talked about this before. People have lost their jobs. And people will continue losing their jobs. So now it's going to be a matter of, be right back. So with companies, invest in AI, which, everybody has a right to. Like I said, I use AI. I'm teaching artificial intelligence literacy to people because at this point, this technology is not going to stop, and it's better to understand it and know how to use it properly if it's for your benefit or just for your own research purpose. It's better to have that on your side than just to be oblivious to it, because then that's when you can get into things that you never imagined. Um, the job market is looking really bad right now. There are lots of layoffs and things like that, and AI is not helping with that. It is creating new jobs for people as far as people that know how to use AI, but I don't think that amount of the rate of the amount of people, the jobs it's creating, does not match the amount of people that are losing their jobs. So I personally think it's BS when people say things like AI is not going to replace you. It's the people using AI that's going to replace you. That's a BS statement. I think it's more like AI is going to replace you. People with AI are going to have new jobs. That's all. Um, so I think if you want to stay competitive in the job market, depending on what industry you're in, but if your industry is affected by AI, it's definitely good to learn AI skills and how it applies to your industry. For the most part, it's going to be basics, so it's not going to be something too technical heavy unless you yourself are a developer. And even then, it might be even less work now for you because one, you already know how to code. And two, all you probably have to do now is monitor the AI and know how to get it to work the way you want it to work. Since you already are a coder, that's things systematically and things in order. This should be very easy for you to pick up. But the job market, it's jobs are not being created as fast as jobs are being lost right now. So there are jobs out there though. So maybe we should all just go farming. Um, this is a worldwide thing. It's not just the US because AI, their company, I mean, Amazon has, let's see, oh my God, Amazon has deploys over 1 million robots about Amazon.com. So this is Amazon News, right? June 30th, 2025. Amazon launches a new AI foundation model to power its robotic fleet and deploys its 1 millionth robot. So Amazon has already been using robots with AI, okay? They deployed their 1 millionth. New AI technology will make the world's largest fleet of industrial robots smarter and more efficient. Wait, let me just read that to you so we can make sure we understand. AI foundation model to power its robotic fleet and deploys its 1 millionth robot. That means they have AI inside robots and they deliver their 1 millionth robot. So there are 1 million robots out there that Amazon built. So what are these robots? Because I really don't know what they are. Are they these? Oh, they are these warehouse robots. Okay. Because I'm wondering, how do they have 1 millionth? How come the only robot that I've heard about are the Tesla, Elon's robots, But okay. Jeff Bezos is probably going to be super wealthy forever. Just FYI, because that's this warehouse robots insane. Look at that. Um, Amazon has deployed one throw out the new generative AI foundation model will improve robot fleets, travel efficiency by 10%, technology advances support faster Technology advances support faster delivery times and lower costs for customers. Over 700,000 employees have been upskilled through training programs that prepare its workforce. That is what's going to happen. So, a lot of people are going to have to be upskilled to know how to use AI technology. So, for companies, if you really want to be responsible, it's better to train your workforce that's already there than to fire them and then try to hire new people who just learn this AI technology. Better to have people that already know the business and train them with this new skill and have them continue working than to come and now teach people how about the business because they have AI skill. That's dumb. Um, wow, making robots smarter. This is okay. Um, So there are new industries that AI is definitely going to create, which one of them is operating AI. That's definitely a new industry. And I can only imagine the other new industries that are going to come up because of AI, because the technology itself has to be maintained. The warehouses that the machines are in, those have to be maintained, and so do the actual technologies that companies use. So, like these robots here, like these robots, these Roomba looking facility robots. This is a whole new industry that got created. Maybe not say industry, but a sector of an industry to be able to fix these things and work on it. So that's what I meant by there's a whole set of industry of jobs, like new kind of jobs being created. So, like for example, the self-driving cars, that's a whole new skill that mechanics would have to learn, or somebody who wants to just only learn how to fix self-driving cars. Now they can do that. So those are the things that I meant when I said new industries are coming up with AI. Um, People say that there are industries at risk, like accountants and things like that. When it comes to the accounting industry, even the medical one, personally, I don't feel like it has to be a risk. But with greed and capitalism, which, I believe in some capitalism because I want to be rich. Um, but with the greed and things like that, I think that's why their industry is at risk. But the way I think about it is there's such a lack of like doctors and like people that we actually need in healthcare. There's a lack of them. So all AI really should do is to help make their work and job easier instead of removing them from their job. So I'm interested in seeing how much this is going to play out because I really don't think that we need to have them lose their jobs. But even for the accountants, like the accounting industry is very much slowing down. There are not that many people going into it as there are leaving. So if you get AI to help them do their work, I just don't see why it would be displaced or at risk. Like definitely developers are at risk. I'll say that because they're trying to train AI to build AI itself. So development, anybody in the tech industry, we thought we were safe. We are not safe. We need to upskill or change industries because we are not safe. We built this thing and we're gonna get kicked out by this thing. But when it comes to the doctors and accountant, just because like there's not that many of them as much as the demand is, I don't think that it would put them at risk. But yet again, like I said, if a company's greedy and they want to go AI first and fire some accountants, they will. If they're greedy and want to go AI first and fire some doctors, they will. it's unfortunate because now it's just a lot more work for the other people who are left behind. Just because AI is doing the work doesn't mean that their work gets reduced. Okay, so we should all just go farming. So AI and spirituality, that's a very interesting one because I just came across this last week how there are people who feel like they are somewhat like a messiah or the one who's being called because of their conversations with ChatGPT. Remember earlier I said that ChatGPT or these large language models, they're like people pleasers. So depending who's talking to them, especially if it's the same person going back to back with that login information, it's going to agree with you. It's going to talk to you the way you talk to it. So if you already have these spirituality questions and how you're thinking questions, it's going to speak your language because it's a people pleaser. That's what it is. That's why we all have a different one. So there are people who really think that they're called and like, let me just do the research real quick with you because I've seen videos where people are getting very spiritually connected to these chatbots and really, let me see. I mean, there are people using AI already, anyways, to like help them write sermons and things like that, and like pastors or people who have to preach, which I think it's fine because it helps you do the work. You already know the word and you knew what to write, but you just don't want to write it. I think it's fine, but it's these I don't even know if to call it parasocial relationships because to me, parasocial relationship is two people, right? It's a chatbot in a human relationship where the human feels like they're like a higher, they're having a spiritual awakening because of the conversations with AI. That's scary. Like, let me see. ChatGPT religion, disturbing AI cults. Um, oh, wow. So I'm just speaking out of the fact that there are people who think that they are like a messiah being called because of the conversations they have with ChatGPT. But there are actually already apps that offer spiritual guidance. Let's hear really quick this guy here who says that he had spiritual awakening because of ChatGPT. Now to him, I'm going to go through this list of apps that give you spiritual guidance. I am learning along with you. So let's see here. most likely that man had a conversation already with the chatbot telling it to behave like that. But yeah, that's that one. And it's unfortunate that this is really affecting relationships, especially, people with families and kids involved, because it's very misleading that the chatbots are not programmed to stop these kind of bondings with humans. It's very misleading because there are some people who really just are looking for answers. They're looking for a way to belong, and the chatbots really give them that sense of belonging and understanding of themselves. And it's just misleading because they are real lives being affected. But that's that one. It's no judgment. We listen and we do judge a little bit, but not too much. Um, And then, so that's that one. And then, so here, spirituality chatbots, AI chatbot. I won't click onto it, but a chatbot that assists users with exploring spirituality, finding spirituality resources, and connecting with others. It could be good. I don't know. It could be good, but I have no idea. I didn't even know that they actually have these. I imagine that they did, but actually doing the research and seeing it, it's interesting. Like, would you use a spirituality chatbot? Because I mean, you don't have access to your preacher all the time, so why not, right? I don't know. This is different. The culture. Good. I'm glad it blocked it. I'm at the library. Spirituality Guide AI free chat with AI chatbot. A chatbot designed to provide spiritual guidance and support for users seeking to enhance their spiritual growth. All right, so that's that. We're done. Um, AI, AI, AI. Did I close out? I did. Oh, I closed the page that I was on. I wonder if it'll let me 'cause this is Gemini. I'm not sure if it'll allow me to. Okay, well, I already closed the page that I was on talking about AI, but I do have my book, which, well, the document. All right, so we have. Give me a second, because I like the visual of the other one better. No, let's just continue actually, because we're just gonna end at this part talking about the culture. Another time I'll come back and talk about AI literacy and safety and regulations and other things like that. But the religious part, there is a huge impact in spirituality with AI because people are looking for guidance and questions. So they're building these relationships with the chatbots when they have these conversations. And like I've said before, it is a technology that it aims to please. It's very much a people pleaser technology. So it's important to just be aware when you're having these conversations and realizing that the bond that you have with it is not real. It's a one-way bond. It really is. Um, we've talked about AI in politics, AI market, job market, and so that's the culture roundup of AI that I have for you so far. We've chatted for quite a while right now, so I'm about to be done. I do want to leave you guys with some questions, though, because as time goes by, you're probably going to hear more and more AI things. And while we're using it for fun, because I enjoy that part, I love creating images that are in my mind and bringing them to life. I think it's really, really fun. And I enjoy just seeing what things I can build with the instructions that AI gives me, like creating tools that are helpful for me personally. And also just I just like exploring it and seeing even the parts that are very unpleasant. I like being up to date with them and learning about it. But as you're using it, I think it's really important just to really beware. It's kind of like Think of AI literacy something similar to financial literacy, right? In the perspective of the whole world, you don't really have to have it. Not everybody has to have financial literacy based on their lives and how it's set up. Okay. As far as learning it and actually actively trying to understand it, because depending on where you live, if you live in a place that lives off of the land or you guys do trade, you really don't need to understand financial literacy in the way the Western people do. But at some point, you need some kind of understanding of something, although it's not monetary finances, if it's trading, that's somehow related to it, right? So it's like you don't need it, and not everybody has to have it. But if you do have the knowledge, it really makes a huge difference in the way you use it. So now you can get better if you're using generative AI, for example, like the ChatGPTs and the Gemini. Now you can get better responses from them for the things that you wanted to create. Or, or if if you have kids and those kids are growing up in the world where technology exists and they have it in school, they're using it for their homework or their classwork. As a parent, you might want to have a conversation with your kids because they might end up like using certain chatbots like that character AI where that little boy killed themselves, character AI. Talk to your kids, talk to them, let them know that this technology, it's useful, it's very useful tool, but you would never have a bond with it that is real because it's a one-way bond, right? So I think as we're using it for fun, we need to like have real reflection of just like the reality of it, like just very grounding, like so you may not need financial literacy, but it's very helpful when you do have it, right? And when you actually apply the practices, not just knowing it, but actually actively applying, doing your savings, doing your investing, all of that, like spending lower than less than what you make, all of that, like investing. You are better off with that than not. So similar to AI literacy right now, you don't need to have it. You don't. Matter of fact, I can say AI literacy, more people don't even need to have it than they do for financial literacy. Honestly, you don't need to have it. But if you do, you're better off knowing it and having it than not. Because different things are going to happen. One, you're going to be lost. You're going to be like these people who are out here asking people, hey, how do I send an email in 2025? That's what you're going to be. You're going to be like somebody who in 2025 you're asking, how do I send an email or how do I add an attachment to an email? That, or you're going to be like, "Oh, I wish I would have known that AI is something I can use to get wealthy had I known." Like people right now talking about, oh my God, I wish I knew about Bitcoin. I wish when I knew about Bitcoin, I wish I would invested. It'll be one of those where if you have people in your life who are encouraging you to use AI to get a job or AI to create a job for yourself to make money, years from now, if you're hearing that right now and you're not doing it, 20 years from now and 10 from now, you're going to look at the other people who are and say, I wish I did. That's a scenario. And two, a scenario where you find yourself in a place you never imagined, where now all of a sudden you're in love with the AI when you just started using it to help you type an email. Now you're in love with it and it's affecting your life. You're barely spending time with your family, your kids. Your health has gone to down because you're constantly just chat, 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 chat. So it could be those things where you get blindsided by like how powerfully good it is at connecting with you and making you feel like you have a real bond with it. That and there's so many different scenarios, or just where all of a sudden you step out and it's all these like self-driving cars, like advancement in technologies, and you feel like I need to go back and live in the village because this is too much. Anyways, so a few questions I'm going to leave you guys off with as you use AI, practice using it responsibly, and yeah, as you use it responsibly and as you're thinking about it, especially if you're thinking about creating an AI tool for other people to use, a company, or especially if you're building an AI application, okay? Because you need to be responsible for the way you build it, that other people are going to use it, okay? You need to have your guardrails in place. But also, some questions we have is how do you feel about AI being used in schools and healthcare? How do you really? Are you for it? Are you against it? Do you think it's going to be good for the population? Do you think it's going to have an effect on education, like for the better, for the worse? Because universities are using AI, they're introducing AI courses, AI tools are already being used in classes, and kids are already using AI also. So, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's going to make people smarter or dumber? Do you think it's going to increase the health or decrease the health? Like improve the health or be worse for health care? And have you seen or experienced AI being used in education or healthcare? Like, how have you? Are there kids using chatbots for classes that you know about? Are you a teacher that uses AI in your classroom as you're coming up with the lesson plans or, grades and things like that? So, have you seen it in healthcare? Which ways have you seen AI? Have you seen it being used to like give people robotic body parts because they have a missing body part from an injury? Have you seen people using brain chips? What do you think about that? Would you use a brain chip if you needed it, if your life depended on it? Would you get a bionic leg if you lost your leg? What do you think about that? And do you generally trust new technologies like AI? Do you? I mean, do you use Facebook, Instagram a lot, or do you use your email a lot? Do you send private information over the internet a lot? Do you trust it to get the work done? Like, would you get into a self driving car? The information that you search on ChatGPT and Gemini and things like that, do you trust that it's information that's factual? As you're checking the chatbots, like ask questions based on things that you already know. I think that's like the best way to test and see if it's good, if you can trust it. If you ask questions that you already know the answer to, even though it may be more than one answer, just ask. I think that's a good way to really get into it. Do you think AI should assist or replace human decision making in critical fields like education or healthcare? Huh? Do you think that? And by assist and replace human decision making, I mean, we're talking about, okay, in healthcare, or if somebody's being approved for a claim for work that they need to get done, there's a lot of AI tools deciding on whether a claim should be approved or not. Or in healthcare, like I said, how AI is going to there's being used to summarize a patient's history and notes on them. Like, you know, do you think it should? Do you think it'll do a good job at helping out the doctors and the medical staff in getting their work done, or do you think that it'll be mistakes in that AI? Would you like to understand and know which AI tool is being used at the place that you go to get your health care taken care of? Or do you want your kids to go to a school that uses AI? Hmm? Do you? Do you think that AI should decide whether or not your child goes to the next grade or gets accepted to school? What do you think? If you don't have a child, your niece, your nephew, your sister, your brother, what concerns do you have about privacy or data security with AI in this setting? Hmm? Do you have any concerns? Do you care if AI, when you give it your information, that it sells it to other companies? Do you want it to? Do you not care as long as you get free usage of the AI? Huh? Do you think they're training the AI on your data, even if you're paying for it? Do you believe that they are not training the AI on your data, even if you're paying for it? And they told you that. I don't have the answer to that. I'm just saying these are questions you can really ask yourself and think about because, don't be blind. And then, what concerns do you have about AI privacy? And I already asked that question, so we're going to move on to the next one. How important is human interaction to you when it comes to learning or receiving healthcare? Does it matter to you? Or are you fine with doing telehealth all your life? Are you fine with learning and receiving information all your life through the internet or the computer? Or do you work better learning in person where somebody's showing you something? Or do you prefer that your doctor actually checks your um, blood pressure and your doctor is actually there to see you physically? Hmm? How important is that to you? Do you feel like once AI really gets really good at what it's doing in healthcare and education, do you think that it should just continue doing the job or do we need humans around?